Key here. I'd like to welcome you and say thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to talk a little bit about transcending the ego. But before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of bearing fruit. A mentor of mine once told me that nothing really matters in the spiritual realm if it doesn't bear fruit in the physical realm. And I know that that sounds a little bit off, and a lot of the spiritual people out there will have a problem with that. But God put us here on the planet for a reason. The universe put us here on the planet for a reason. And I really don't think it was to get out of here. If it did, suicide rates would be much higher and people would feel much more compelled to get out of the physical world. Instead, a lot of our focus is on creating what we can in this physical world. And the majority of people focus so much on creating something for themselves in the future that they really forget about the present moment. So I want to talk a little bit about transcending the ego. Now, there are two things that I see most common with people and transcending the ego, and two things that people really need to come down. The first one is not thinking that you're good enough, and the second one is thinking that you're too good, or that people should be listening to you more, or people should be valuing you more. And that really comes from an insecurity as well, that you're not good enough, but it's two different mindsets that we focus on. So when we're transcending the ego, in my personal practice, it's about doing things in the physical world with the physical body, with the mind, to start getting the mind and the body out of the way. Once you start producing results in your life, once you begin to expand your boundaries of who you think that you are, the mind and the body start to get out of the way and the spirit comes through more fully. The reason being, the mind, the ego is built into the body and the mind, more so the mind, and it tells you who you are. So as we start to expand that, the mind starts to go into a place of I don't know who I am, because every time that I set myself on who I am, it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger, and the results that I'm seeing in my relationships get bigger, and the results that I'm seeing in my financial life get bigger, and I'm getting healthier and I'm eating better. So a good practice for me has been finding the areas of things that are comfortable, finding where I'm comfortable in my life, and stepping out of that zone and stepping into a new place and a new way of being. And there's simple things that I'm going to say right here that will probably throw you for a little bit of a loop and say, oh no, I'm not doing that. But keep in mind that's your ego saying that. Imagine setting yourself that no matter what time you went to bed, you were going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You were going to meditate, you were going to work out before anything else even happened, starting at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, on another one, imagine that you decided to do what I call contrasting showers. It's something that's very powerful for me as a massage therapist, and I tell my clients who are in a lot of pain to do it all the time. But imagine how much your ego would love going from a nice warm shower at 4 o'clock in the morning to you turning it down to being ice cold. Then going, another 30 seconds, 40 seconds passes and you turn it back up to being hot again. Imagine how much that's going to really throw off your ego, how much it's going to hate that. But when we do that, we start to expand who we are. And what you'll notice if you do one of those contrasting showers is after 3 or 4 repetitions, the body and the mind stop reacting. They stop being so caught up in the moment of the shock. And you start to notice that the cold water doesn't feel so cold and the hot water doesn't feel so hot. And that's a good lesson in polarity, which we'll cover later. But really what I want to get across to you is, if there's an area in your business that you feel stuck, do something to move yourself out of that. If there's a part in your physical fitness routine that you just feel absolutely stuck, find something to get yourself through it. Change things up, move things around. Get out of this idea that I hate change and start welcoming change, because change is all that there is. And the ego really wants to keep things the same. And that's why a lot of times we don't see any future results of what we want to see. It has nothing to do with you not putting in the effort or you not putting in the time, and everything to do with you not really wanting to move forward. The ego doesn't want to move forward, and you're so controlled by the ego that you can see this grand vision in front of your face of, I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm going to be a fitness model, and I'm going to be have this amazing relationship, and yet the ego won't let go of what you currently have. So part of transcending the ego isn't about getting above the ego, but getting out of the grips of it, getting out of the binding of it, and becoming free. And we do that when we start to shake up the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. So I want to encourage you to make a list of 5 things that you can do today, that you can do tomorrow, and that you can do in the next day that will completely shake up your ego. But you need to start with today and commit to doing it today. And think about the cold showers. Think about changing up your eating, because your eating is nothing but a habitual habit. If you're overweight and you're not fit, the reason why is because you have the same habitual way of eating and the same habitual way of working out. Not because you're not capable, but because it's just that you do the same things over and over. So make a commitment, a spiritual commitment, to transcend where you're at, to move beyond where you're at. And I guarantee you that you'll start to see the results in your physical world, and that spiritually you'll become stronger. So go ahead and join the forum. Let me know what you think. Share this with your friends on Twitter and Facebook. And just, let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you again real soon.